Hello, beautiful people. My guest today is Hellah Sidibe, and Hellah is absolutely incredible. He is currently on a run streak, meaning he's run every day for over 1,300 days. So, quick math tells me that's somewhere around 4 or 3.5 years. And Hellah just blows my mind. His positivity and energy are infectious. And I started watching him on YouTube after Pat Walls recommended him to me. Pat Walls from episode 38. And Hellah did not disappoint. In this conversation, we spoke about the importance of doing difficult things, of love, of what a day in his life is like. And I'd be surprised if you listen to this all the way through and you don't feel energy and you don't feel happy and you don't feel excited. I highly recommend you check out Hellah's YouTube channel. Just talks about running, motivation, lifestyle, that type of thing. He does that video once a week and he is amazing. I'm a huge Hellah fan, and I think you will be as well after listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know on Twitter at HeyDannyMiranda is where to find me. That's where you can give me feedback about the conversation, and I look forward to hearing from you. But until then, let's go into this conversation with Hellah Sidibe.
Interesting people, thought-provoking conversations, nutrition for your brain. Journey through the minds of the world's top performers and discover what it really takes to achieve your highest version. This is the Danny Miranda Podcast.
Hellah, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So why don't we start off with a little background from you? Who are you? How did you get to this place in the world? And just tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
So my name Hellah Sidibe, born and raised in West Africa, Mali. And I grew up in a third world country. If you guys haven't heard of Mali, Mali is one of the poorest country in the world, if not the poorest. People make less than $1 a day over there. But I grew up in a beautiful uprising family. Even the fact that the country is very poor, I never really felt that as a child because your parents and your family members kind of like take that burden on themselves so you don't have to feel it. So we were just kids on the street, enjoying the game of soccer, playing around, having a good time with our friends on the field and at school, coming home to a nice cooked meal, whatever that we are able to have that day. And there's no really complaint. It was all about joy and having fun. And I came to the U.S. in '98 when I was 7, before even turning 8. But I was only here for 1 year until '99 because my parents were completing their degree. My dad was doing his PhD. My mom was doing her master's. And we all moved back home again. So I went back home, did middle school, and to come back here, and I started high school. So I've been in the U.S. since then, but I go back and forth visiting. Grew up, went to high school here and went to college here and played soccer my whole life. And soccer got me a scholarship at a Division I school, University of Massachusetts Amherst. So I went out there, played soccer over there, got the opportunity to play in the pros. I was looked at by Sporting Kansas City of the MLS, and I had a lot of opportunity to play, but there was issues of immigration because I wasn't a U.S. citizen then. That's a whole nother story. I actually talked about that in my YouTube channel as well with more details about my soccer story. But I did my best playing, got opportunity to play for teams and got on teams. The thing about me right now is even though I played soccer my whole life, I hated running. Fitness was never fun. Whenever we have a day off, whether in college or pros or even in between with PDL, the Professional Development League or Premier Development League, I didn't like the day off because I know that after the day off, the following day, we have to do fitness, and I did not like running. I would literally be sick to my stomach. I can play a 90-minute game, no problem, running up and down the left field, but because there's more to it. You're thinking about the ball, you're thinking about winning ball, attacking, defending, but running wasn't something that I found joy in, and I always saw it as punishment. And for the most part, for our team, we were, especially at UMass, we were always punished by running. It was like, you guys are not doing well, get on the line. And fast forward to 3 years ago, I just literally sat there and said, I want to do something that I could, for once, hold myself accountable and stop making excuses. Something I'm really afraid of. And the first thing that came to my mind was running. And I wanted to be, after season, you have this body, like you're in shape. And I wanted to maintain the postseason body look. And I know running would have to be part of that in order for me to do it. So that's how everything came about. And next thing you know, I said, you know what? There's this YouTuber actually that I used to watch, Paul Wallace of Supercars of London. He's just a car YouTuber, and he said, I want to give running a try. This was like January 2017, and I was looking at him. He's not an athlete. He's never played any serious sport. He wants to try running. I'm afraid of it. I played at the Division I level. I got to play in the pro level. I should be able to do this. So that also was part of the motivation as well. So, and I just told myself, let's run every day for just 2 weeks, just 10 minutes a day. No pressure. It doesn't matter how slow I go, just do 10 minutes. And within a week, I fell in love with it because it was pressure free. I didn't have to get yelled at by anyone. I was just enjoying myself. And now we are here today, still running every day, well over 3 years.
It's incredible, man. It's absolutely incredible. And you bring up such a good point in that when you are forced to do something, you start to hate it. And when you do it and decide to do it on your own, you can really find enjoyment in the same exact activity. I know for a lot of people, it's reading, right? Reading books. School forces them to read, and they hate reading because of that. And then they start to read on their own, and they're like, wow, this is actually fun. So it's very interesting that you found running in the same vein there. So what I'm curious about is a day in your life, right? So you've run every single day for the past 3 years and more than 3 years. But what does a normal day look like for you?
A normal day, let's say, we'll go over like yesterday, for example. I woke up, I had a meeting at 11 in the morning, and it was a crazy day because if I didn't run before 11 in the morning, I was going to be in trouble. I wasn't going to be able to run until past 7:30 p.m. And I didn't want to run that late because that's when like your body goes through the day. Your body isn't the same. You're on your feet, running around, doing all these stuff. So I got up early to make sure that I got my run out of the way before the 11 a.m. meeting with Vivo Life. I'm a Vivo Life athlete, so it's a plant-based protein company out of the UK. So we just had a meeting over Zoom. So after that meeting, in the morning on yesterday, Thursday, right away, I had to do my recovery stuff because I had a training session I had to attend to at 3 p.m. So after that 3 p.m. training session, I coach people. I do speed and agility in soccer. That's my profession that I do as a job besides YouTube. So I had a session to go run to at 3. And after that 3 p.m. session, I had an hour in between. I had to eat. I had to run to another 5 p.m. session. After the 5 p.m. session, I had to run home to get on a call with Gymshark at 6:30 p.m. And then after that, I had a session again from 7:30 to 8:30. So actually, it was a crazy day. So if I'm not running, I'm training someone or training myself, or I'm doing some YouTube videos and I'm eating. That's my life. And then I love every moment of it, every opportunity that I get. I guess that's part of this lifestyle that I live. So today, for example, I ran before I met up with you because right after I'm done talking with you, I have a training session to attend to right away. And then after that, I have another virtual session immediately. So you got to get the mentality is always find a way to make it happen. Or if you don't make it happen before all these stuff that you have to do, that you have responsibility to take care of, you got to make it happen later. So it's like, when do you want to do it? Do you want to do it early and get it out the way, or do you want to do it late when it's really late? So that's how my day is.
How many times have you had to do those late night sessions? Because I mean, I'm sure every day you haven't, for the past 1,000 days, you haven't got your work in early. Has there been a few nights about that you've just like started to run at 11 p.m. or real late?
Actually, that's a good point that you brought up. When I first started this running journey, I get messages from people, I don't have time to run or to work on myself because I have a 9 to 5. People don't realize actually when I was started this journey, I had a full 9 to 5. I would get in at 12. I don't get out till 8 p.m. Or I would get in at early in the morning. I don't get out till 6 p.m. Or I was always working. So I would either get up early in the morning to run before I go into work or after. So a lot of the time it's been after because I was lazy to get up. It wasn't that I didn't want to run. It's just being lazy. Like, we're human. We have those days where we don't really want to get going immediately. And I had to pay for it. And I ended up running at 9 p.m. at night, 10 p.m. at night. And I don't like those because those are like the time it's dark out. Even there's some street lights. It's not the same, and your body has gone through the day. It's not this. You're not feeling the same. And the motivation at that point is not as strong. But it's not about motivation at that point. It's about being disciplined to take care of business. So I've had those days. And then as I grew better mentally and developed, and I make sure that I take care of business before I go take care of other business. Even when I had flights, besides this pandemic we're in, I'd have to catch a 6 a.m. flight. I'm up at 2, 3 in the morning running before I get on the flight because my mentality is what happens if I get stuck at the airport or the flight is delayed and I don't have the opportunity to run till later, or if I land is literally 10 minutes before midnight, I can't run that day. So I make sure that I get up early and get it done and just set myself in. And if I have any time after when I get to my destination or after work, if I want to do an extra run, that's an extra run. But the priority has been taken care of already.
It's really so important taking care of yourself first, and then because you're presenting yourself in a whole different light, right? If you wake up and you get your work in and you're proud of who you are and you took care of yourself, well, then you can take care of everyone else too, right?
Exactly,
and it's easier to attend to all the meetings you have to do.
Yes, exactly.
So one thing that I needed to talk to you about was that you didn't start posting on YouTube when you first began the challenge. You started posting about 6 months after, if I'm correct, after you started this running every day. Why is that?
So that's the interesting part about that time that it happened. When I started this journey, it had nothing to do with YouTube. It had nothing to do with, it was just a personal thing that I needed to fight. There's a lot of time in my life I made so many excuses, and some of them was very valid because some stuff were out of your control. But what I didn't do was take care of what I can take care of. I was always pointing fingers. I was the guy that was saying, "Oh, this is not my fault. Look at this, is out of my control." And some of them I had a good, legit reason. But I wanted to do this just for me. It had nothing to do with social media. It had nothing to do with anything. The only reason I actually reached social media is because my girl convinced me to do it, and she was convincing me since like 100 days in. And I said, no, only she knew, close family member. I'm trying to run every day for a year. So at day 163, I finally said, okay, fine. I got my run in, and I just got a haircut that day. And I was like, let me shower, and let's go do the video. I agreed to her letting her shoot a video about me. She said, this is cool. Let's share it with people, put it on YouTube. And at that point, I had no idea streaking was even a thing. I never looked up anything about running. It was just me versus me. So day 163 was when we shot that video and we put it up. And we just put it up just to share my passion with people. And putting that up wasn't anything expected for it to be anything at all. And it didn't even catch on until 3 months later. We started waking up. We're getting views and views. People were messaging, are you still running? What's the update? And we just started updating people. So basically, I became a YouTuber by accident. And it's something that I hated that became a passion of mine. Now it's work, but it's not even work because whether I'm getting paid for this or not, I'm doing this every day. It was a lifestyle already that I made it. So that's how day 163 became a thing. And it's an important day for me because that's when everything changed really, when we put it live on YouTube.
Were you hesitant to put yourself out there? Was it weird for you to start putting a camera and having people view you into your life? Because obviously you just kind of came into this. So
not really, because I was always in front of cameras playing college. You're always post-game interviews there. So I was always in front of camera. I wasn't really like uncomfortable in that situation. It was more like, okay, let's do this and put it out there for people. And then I feel like when you're very serious about something and when you're sharing the message, it's just so authentic and pure. It doesn't really matter what it is to you, that you just want to make sure that you tell your story. So it wasn't weird. I wasn't hesitant, and I knew what I was putting myself into. And I knew I was opening up a huge door, letting people into my life, seeing what I'm doing. And I was just like, all right, let's do it. Why not? Maybe it can help one person. And when I put up the video, I had no intention to even oh, to change anyone's life. It was just like, let me share with people what I've been up to, why I run every day. And that was it. And then it became bigger to me as time is going until this day.
Yeah, you talk about the importance of it being authentic to yourself and the importance of it not being a big deal because this is just who you are. And
Yes.
and I found the same exact thing with this podcast is like it's just me expressing it and asking questions that I would ask you on a phone call, even if it wasn't recorded. So it makes it more pure almost from that perspective. But
Yes.
one thing that I wanted to talk to you about was your energy, man. If anybody watches these videos, they see your energy is off the walls. It is absolutely insane. And it is so pure and coming from a place of love that you just want the viewer on the other end to smile and to have a good time and to be the best version of themselves. And that's where I relate to you so strongly. So talk to me about where that energy comes from.
That energy is just, it came from having a self conversation. I had to literally I talk to myself. I always say that if you were around me right now, Danny, and we're on a run, if you can hear the thoughts in my head, you'd probably think, the hell, are you crazy or something? Even yesterday, as I'm sitting down on the dining table, I'm having conversation with myself. My girl's across in the living room. She goes, "Are you talking to yourself?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to plan something in my head, but I'm speaking it out loud." So I had to one day literally sit down and talk to myself. I was always a happy person. I was always smiling. It's because of where I grew up. It literally is the lifestyle that we live in. A lot of people are in so much problem and trouble in Mali, in my country, and I think most of Africa too. But they're always smiling. In fact, they laugh about some of the hardship because they said it could always be worse. So they see it from a different perspective. So I grew up seeing life in a perspective way. But at a certain point in my life, I was going through so much trouble, so many tribulations, so many things that I had to deal with, and it really put me in a dark spot. It really did, and I had to one day literally sit down and say, "Hell, it could always be worse." You think you have it worse today? Someone will switch their life for yours in any minute. You have a roof over your head, you can eat. So what is it to be sad about life? I know I'm gonna have rough days, but I just have to look into the brighter side and talk about what I'm grateful for, and just smile because some people didn't wake up today. I got to wake up today. So I got the opportunity to chase another dream, even though one didn't work out. But I have the opportunity to do something about my life, and some people didn't get that. And I remind myself the difficult days. When you have these tough days, when you think it's like the end of the world, nothing is ever going to change. And next thing you know, you give it time, and you're sitting here today, you're smiling. When you're thinking back, you're like, wow, I thought those were worst of the worst days. But look I'm standing strong today. And I'll share a personal story with you right now. I talked about it in my podcast, actually, that I started not long ago. When I was trying to be on a professional team, I got signed to Seattle Sounders, but it was their farm team first. I signed on a professional contract. Getting out there, I had zero money, nothing at all. Waiting for my first check to come in as a pro, right? So I went to go buy food, and my bank account declined. My card declined. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I didn't have it in me my parents are in Africa, and I didn't want to go ask them about, I need money, and they're not, having money in Mali isn't easy either. I didn't have the courage to ask any friend or anybody for money. So I'm sitting there, I don't know how I'm going to get my next meal. I'm hungry. So I decided to give a phone call to the bank that I had, was Bank of America. And I said, whoever came on the phone, I said, can I speak to a manager? And the manager came in and I said, can you allow me to just overdraft in my account? And you can charge me the overdrafting fee. But I'm waiting on my first professional check. When I get it, I'll make sure that I pay the fee. So I just needed to go to eat. And he said, what's going on? Like I said, I have nothing right now. So that guy said to me, listen, if I let you overdraft right now, you're going to be negative and you're going to have a negative fee. So it's going to be a lot. So if you're not paying that on time, it's going to add up into something big that could be a struggle for you, because he doesn't know what kind of check I'm going to get as my first pro check. And so he said, you know what, let me make this easy for you. I'm going to give you a $30 credit so you can go buy grocery for the week. And I went to a cheap grocery store, got a whole grocery for a week. And the reason I'm telling you this story, I've had that day when I was sitting there, I thought this was like the worst of worst when I don't know what to eat. I'm an athlete that have to perform at a high level, playing against these teams from Vancouver Whitecaps, from Portland Timbers, from the MLS teams but I didn't have a cent in my pocket, and I didn't have the courage to ask anyone so I can eat. So I think back to those days when everything was hard, and I remind myself, you know what, life could always be worse. So every single day, I am getting out there and enjoying every day, because it could be, you really, sometimes the saying is, you don't know what you got till it's not there. So I'm trying to enjoy everything I got today. I'm trying to enjoy every single thing. And then sometimes I am down, but the beautiful part about me is, and I hope everybody discover this about themselves, is that when you are down, you have to be able to be aware of it. Self-aware is very important immediately, and shut it down and say, you know what are you talking about? Hellah, stop complaining, move on. And then it's over. I have a rule where I give myself 10 minutes. It's not going to lie. If I'm mad or angry about something, I'm giving myself 10 minutes to get over it. After that, I'm not carrying that energy around me, because it's not worth it. So I just walk away from the situation and I just smile, and that energy just keep amplifying. So if you're on that positive frequency, it's just going to keep amplifying every single day. So I think that's where I find my energy from, just reflecting on the past, not dwelling on the past, but letting myself know that life is actually really good. Even though we have all these craziness happening in this country, everywhere in the world, but life is really good because we got to wake up today.
That's an incredible perspective, my man, and I'm so grateful to have you on the podcast to help bring that perspective to more people. And so one follow-up question I have for that is, you mentioned before about how people in Mali are poor, but they're happy. And my question is, why do you think that is?
I think it's the sense of nationalism. That's very important. I feel like America is very private. Even my friends, I have to make an appointment. Well, before the pandemic, hey, can I come over this day? Can we hang out? And Mali, you just show up at your neighbor's house. You're expected as a guest every day. So the sense of nationalism, being there for each other. So let's say like there's a household. I have a lot of people that live in my house in Mali, cousins, nephews, nieces, all that stuff, uncles, aunts. So let's say I go out to work, right? There's a meal made for the whole house. Like there's a breadwinner that provides, and everybody do their best to add a little to it, to the table. And I go to work and the meal is made. They make sure that there's some meal left for me when I come home so I can eat, even if it's not enough to make me full, but I never will be left out. So everybody's looking out for one another. And then the saying is, it takes a whole village to raise a family. That's literally how it is in my country. You could have someone that's just your neighbor, but they'll help raise your child. They're always there for you when you need them. So the sense of nationalism, we're there for each other. Even though we're poor, there's a lot of support. So because of everybody comes together as a unit, you don't even see how poor people are. You don't even see that people are suffering because one person is giving a helping hand. I think that's why the positivity is there. If everybody was greedy now to hold on tight to what they got, they're like, well, forget you. I'm just going to focus on myself. I think then the happiness won't be the same. So that's the reason I think my theory, and it makes a lot of sense that's why we are very happy, because we're there for each other. Whether your neighbor is literally like your family, literally, that's how it is.
Makes a lot of sense, and it's something that you wish you would see more of in this country. But what do you think the ways in which we can help people become more positive? Do you think it's just about embodying that caring spirit, that positivity, that happiness yourself? How do you think about the ways of bringing that to the United States?
So I think it's about everybody, like you said, we have to take care of ourselves first. You take care of yourself first. And meaning that you're sitting down, because if I can take care of myself today, I'm at my best, then I can use that energy to help someone else. And that comes very well even in this pandemic. If I make sure that I'm wearing a mask, if the science is telling us that's helping, let me do that. So I'm safe and I'm keeping someone else safe. So, but we really have to sit down and look deep down at ourselves. What is it that is making me not happy? What is it is it the money issue? Is it whatever it is? Because there's always some kind of reason that kind of takes the happiness away. And then when we get down to the root of that, now what can I do so I'm not in this state of mind, and figure out how to get over these issues that I'm dealing with? So it really is like, they say sit down and look at yourself in the mirror. That's literally what it took for me to do. I didn't physically go sit down in front of a mirror, but I literally sat down and have a conversation with myself. What can I do now? So I feel like if we all figure that out, and then not being shy about, because mental health is real, not being afraid of talking to someone, not being afraid of seeing the expert, seeing a therapist. I think we should normalize that, because people really are going through a lot. So when we do that, and I think that happiness is going to come around. The energy is going to change because we're comfortable in that. We're able to be vulnerable. We're able to talk about our problems, so we're not letting it sit there and bottling up, and then it destroys us. So we're knowing that we're able to know that someone is there for us, that we're not alone in this. It's many of us that are going through this, and then that's how we get over things, and we come together. That's how you unite. The reason we like some people love each other is because they're very similar. A lot of good friends are because they have good similarity. They believe in the same thing. They usually are doing the same thing. So if we come together as a unit and as a whole, that's the only way I see that we are living in this beautiful, happy, positive lifestyle. Even if we have our down days, we find a way to overcome it immediately.
I love that and couldn't agree more. One thing that you talk about so often is inner peace. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious about the ways that you focus on your own inner peace.
Yeah. By not taking anything personally. We take a lot of stuff personally. And there's a lot of people out there, even putting politics aside, if someone does something to us, sometimes it's not humane. It really isn't. Like, if I go and step on your toes, you didn't do anything to me. What says that you deserve that, right? You don't deserve that. But if someone literally come and step on my toes, instead of I didn't do anything wrong, they were in the wrong, but I won't take it personally and attack them. I'm just going to be, you know what? That's their issue. They're having problems. They're in so much pain that they're doing this to me. Well, they don't know me. I've never done anything to them. So you know what? I actually feel bad for you. I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you for your healing. I'm going to pray for you to be a better person, and I'm going to walk away from the situation. I think taking things personally really can drive us crazy. And a book that is life-changing, that literally changed my life, is called The Four Agreements by Miguel Don Ruiz. I believe that's the author. Basically, it's the four agreements are: do not take anything personally, be impeccable with your word, do your best, and last one, do not make assumptions. So I live by those four things. When I read that book almost 3 years ago, or actually over 3 years ago, it changed my life. So I don't take anything personally. That gives me inner peace. I do not make assumptions, because assumptions really ruins people's life. Like, especially when we assume that, oh, you should know this. We shouldn't assume. We shouldn't. And taking, even like at a red light, when you're driving, someone is at a red light and you're behind them, it turns green. They take a little bit of a second before they move on, but we start flipping out, hitting our honk. Hey, move, it's red, it's green light. But maybe they drop something, maybe a tea spilled on them in their coffee, maybe, but we take it so personally, like it's not us. We have to have sympathy for that person. Maybe they didn't see the light right away. Maybe their mind is flaring somewhere. You don't know. Maybe they just got in a fight with someone, their spouse, a family member. So that's one thing, not taking anything personally and not making assumptions, because it will always let you down. You don't know. You can't just assume things, and then always doing your best. And don't compare your best. My best today is going to be different than my best yesterday or tomorrow. But as long as I know I'm giving my best within that circumstances, and most importantly, be impeccable with your word. Do not say anything negative about anybody, because you don't know where their mental state is. They can take it too harsh. It can change their life. It can make them depressed. And you're be impeccable with your word to yourself. Don't call yourself stupid if you make a little mistake. Don't be like, oh, why did I do this? Like, don't be impeccable. And those things are the way that you can find inner peace. And that's what helped me find inner peace, by just not taking anything personally and not making assumptions, just doing my best and being impeccable with my word.
I love that you brought that book up, because in the past 6 months, it's been one of the most important books that I've read. And what I love about, and one key insight I had from that book was to do your best and not to try too hard and not to try too little, and to just give your 100%. Because if you think about it on a run, it's like if you're running and you're going so hard and you're like, oh, I'm giving 110% effort, then you're going to get injured. If you're trying at 80% effort, you're going to be like, you're not going to get growth. So it's only when you do 100% do you really feel it, right?
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, so true.
Yeah, man. So and it's like, how have you taken that and applied, I guess, that book to more than just running?
I've applied it to every aspect of my life, everything, even to the people who have insulted me, that they don't even know who I am, to people who have say things that has nothing to do with me, but they are claiming everything, literally, not just me, even others. It made me really look at myself. You know what? I don't have time to waste my energy on this, and life is short. I don't know what's gonna happen after this. Like me and you could be done with talking. Who knows what's gonna happen? But I'm not sitting there like being fearful about it and dwelling what can happen. But I'm just gonna enjoy the moment. Just enjoy, literally live in a state that I'm living right now, and living. And speaking about that, I've read another book, Power Now, by Eckhart Tolle, basically living in the moment every single day, because we can't live in the past, we can't live in the future, we can only live in the present moment. So we should just always, if you're being lazy today, if you feel lazy, enjoy that moment being lazy. Eventually you're gonna get out of that state. But if you're being lazy, but you're like, oh, I'm being lazy, you're not really enjoying it, your mind is all over. So you're not living in the moment. Next thing you know, everything is just even messed up. So I apply that book to everything I do today, and it's a whole full circle. It really is. Anything I really do in life, whatever it is, I apply it to it, and it has helped me grow as a person. It has helped me be have sympathy for others, and has helped me not be selfish, because I used to be selfish in a way where it's all about like me. Why can I be this? Why can I not be on a team? Why is this person playing and I'm not? I'm better than this person. And when they didn't do anything to me, so why am I going at them and being all pointing and talking about them and being so judgmental? So it really made me grow as a person.
I am so appreciative that you bring up some of those situations, because I think someone might have a tendency to look at someone like you and be like, oh, he's always been happy. Oh, he's always been a selfless guy. Oh, he's always been full of energy and full of love and full of light. So talk to us about one of those times, if you don't mind, of when you realized like, oh, I am being selfish. And
I used to not be, not specifically soccer. Because, I mean, if you ask me as a 16-year-old, Hellah, where would you be by the age of 25? I'm well over 25 now. But I would say that I would be playing at Chelsea FC, my favorite soccer team. That was the goal. At 16, you couldn't tell me that I was not going to do that. I believed in it so much. So when things aren't going my way now, and all these circumstances, some of them was out of my control. So I started like digging at people, like when people I play with in the ranks. I've been a starter on every team I played on. Play basically 90 minutes. If I'm not playing, it's because I'm injured. When I see players I played against that I'm clearly better than, not just because of my opinion, just because of the reports and scouting, and I see them doing better than me, being on the teams that I want to be in, and then I start like I envy them, and they didn't do anything to me. At one point, I stopped watching games on TV because I'd see players that I play with, and even I've seen a player specifically that ended up signing for the team that was trying to draft me, that I was going at him when he was with Portland Timber. He asked me friendly word to stop going at him because he's tired. He said that he said, I won't go at you. I just need to catch my breath, so I won't catch you off guard. And I see him playing on TV, so I used to have envy against him and be jealous. And then I had to tell myself, he didn't do anything to me. Why am I jealous of him? I should be happy for him, because his goal was also to make it. Why not be happy for him? My goal is to make it. His goal is to make it. So I realized we'll have more in common than we don't. We're all trying to make it. We're all trying to do the best for ourselves, for our family and friends. And I have to stop being jealous of people. And then my jealousy was always in the game of soccer. It had nothing to do with other lifestyle. It was just soccer, because I just wanted to be the guy up there, because I was so about that. And I literally used to be so jealous of other players. I was always mad when I see other players succeed above me. But now I'm so happy to see others. I want others to do better than me. Even with a running streak, I want people to have better PRs than I am. That's not even my goal, to PR all the time. I just want to run for the fact of endurance, so I can go 30 miles, 40 miles, 50 miles in a day with no problem. But I'm actually happy for people who are being more successful than me now, because I know the feeling of when you hit that goal is unreal. So I want them to feel that even beyond where I have been. So so I had to, it's a lot of personal growth. I was in a dark place. I can't sugarcoat it and say I was this happy guy. And as soon as I kind of learned more about myself and my own mental state, and changed things up, literally the script flipped, and you can see it today. Not only that, the energy around me, people around me are more positive because I put myself in that situation. Opportunities are endless for me, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's just, life is just, I can't wait to get up in the morning, and I couldn't say that 3 years ago. I
What
was
was
just,
the what
yeah,
was that switch that flipped?
just holding myself accountable for once. Just saying, Hella, I am the problem. No one is the problem. You are the problem, Hella. I had to literally say that. And that's how running started. I said, let me for once hold myself accountable and stop making excuses and go out and enjoy this run right now because I'm scared of running. Let me stop pointing fingers at people because I didn't make it to this team. Yeah, I couldn't get a visa. I had immigration stuff that was on hold. I couldn't get a contract to go to Germany because German embassy denied my visa. When I had a year guaranteed to play for a Bundesliga too, I couldn't go to Russia at the time. I had a contract to go to Russia. I didn't want to leave my scholarship in college. But other things that I was responsible for, I for once said, you know what, Hella, it's your own fault. Just man up, be a man. You're not a kid anymore and deal with it. And that was the switch. And it's really weird because once I started just focusing on myself, what I can do, next thing you know, I literally, life is beautiful. I really can't complain. I can't. And I didn't do YouTube for anything, for money or any of that. And it just is for because the pure joy of being able to share my passion is a privilege. And the money aspect, people talk about money a lot too with YouTube. If it was about money, I would have quit YouTube a long time ago because you don't really make money on YouTube. And it's really public. You can go on Social Blaze and look at people's accounts, see what people are really making. If you don't have the millions of subscribers and all these big brands working with you, it's not even about that. It's just about the pure joy of being who I am and sharing it with the world and in holding myself accountable. That switched everything for me.
It's absolutely amazing to watch. And what has been your favorite moment from the past 3 years of documenting your journey running?
That's a tough one. There's a couple, for sure. My favorite moment, I would say the biggest one is seeing everybody trying this challenge, running every day for a year. And because when people used to say, "Wait, how's that possible?" and someone had the audacity to go on my channel and put on the comment, "This is impossible. I've been in the military. I played professional sports. You can't run every day for a year. It's impossible. Your body's not gonna handle it." So my favorite moment was seeing everybody else do it. So just to show that I'm not the special one, I'm not the lucky one, I'm not the athlete who's able to do it, that everybody else can do this. And then I'm actually more happy for them because they're living proof also. So those are my happiest moments on the channel, seeing everybody getting up and doing this and kind of like living it. And then a lot of people have made it and they're like, wow, this is actually possible because I switched the way that my mentality was. I need a rest day. I need to do this. And that's one of it. And another one is being able to cover 50 miles in one day. I had no idea when I put myself to that, I wasn't prepared at all. It was a Sunday night. I said, I'm waking up on Monday. I'm going to try to run 50 miles. 50 miles. Mile 40, I regretted my decision. I was delusional. I was dizzy. I couldn't even see where my house was when I stopped at mile 40 to get some water and food. And I looked like I was deaf. I lost 10 pounds in a span of 8 hours and 40 minutes for the run time and in 12 hours overall. So that was a proud moment for me because I was able to push my body at a point where it was in an uncomfortable situation and it was very dangerous. And another proud moment was able to run 245 miles in a week when I do that in a month. I usually do that in a month, not in a week. Being able to run 35 miles a day for what was going on and trying to shine light on some positivity and help those who were suffering throughout the days, the craziness we're living in. That was a proud moment for me with the Black Lives Matter movement. And letting people know it's not even about people are saying, oh, the Black Lives Matter is a thing. It's not about actually Black lives. But my point was Black lives actually matter, not just them. But obviously, for all lives to matter, Black lives have to matter. It's not taking away from other lives. It's just saying that the Black community just need help, and we just need to shine light on it. And I had personal stories from their actual family. I didn't talk to them, but look for personal stories from people who love these people that were innocently killed. So it's not just the media, just them talking about who they were, and made sure that the donation that I made was going directly to them, not just to a foundation, directly to the family that could help with their cases, whatever that's going on. So that was a proud moment for me, putting my body through 245 miles in a week for them to bring awareness to anything, anything that I could do to shine light on, using my ability to run. That's always a proud moment for me.
So talk to me about recovery, because you're talking about these absurd numbers like 240 miles in a week and 50-mile run. Like my friend Hunter Weiss, episode number 4 of this podcast, he also ran 50 miles in a day. And it's like, what do you do the next day? You're running the next day? Like, talk to me about the recovery that you're doing.
Your recovery is never like a one moment in time. You're always recovering. When I'm watching TV, I'm recovering. I'm foam rolling. I stretch. I hang my leg against the wall. You are always doing something to make it a little better so you can get up and go at it the next day. That 50-mile a day, whenever I had a break to eat, to drink, I'm always foam rolling. My hands is against the wall while I'm snacking. The 245-mile week foam rolling a lot. I'm using a recovery boot that I had from a friend that let me borrow his, the Normatec one. That and icing, you're doing everything. You really have to take recovery as more important than actual running, because when you're not fully healed, you're not going to be able to get out there and get the run in. So recovery is literally the most important part of this whole process. So you have to pay attention to it. And if you don't, you're going to pay for it. And the days that I don't take foam rolling serious, I feel it in my legs. I do. So you have to just be disciplined and make sure you're eating well. You're not eating less, you're eating right. You got to eat a lot, and making sure that you're hydrating on top of that and foam rolling and whatever it takes.
And you're also a vegan, right? So
vegan,
talk to me about how you get enough protein in to support this machine.
Very, very good question. People don't understand that protein essentially comes from plants. So any protein you get from animals or recycled protein, because plants are the only thing that have the ability to produce protein. They use the sunlight to produce, take nitrogen in the sky that turns into amino acid, that turns into protein, some kind of like that. I may be a little off of that, the nitrogen amino acid thing, but plant is the only thing that can essentially make protein. So technically, we are going to the direct source of protein. My beans, and even having banana has some kind of protein. It's not a lot. Some has higher content than the others. I'm eating avocados that have good fats and all these things that plants is literally, and then inflammation recovery actually helps with recovery, because I don't have to worry about all these stuff that are inflaming my body that comes from animal. So my recovery is a little quicker. My body turning around from recovery is very quick and fast due to the plant-based lifestyle. And I make sure I did my research. And the only thing I regret about going vegan is because I didn't do it fast enough, early enough. Almost 5 years in this coming 2021 February, but it's been nothing but amazing. I get enough protein. Even having a bowl of oatmeal with my oat milk, that alone is more than half of the protein that I need in a day. And if you want to go supplement, there's a lot of plant-based protein shakes. And if you really look at it, everything that we really eat is involving with the greens and the legumes, the fruits that has all these nutrients. So that why are they telling us eat your fruits, eat your vegetables? Because they know it has a lot of nutrients in it. So it's not just about meat. So that was able to help me to even be at this state in my life, keeping going in my late 20s and being able to get up every day. I feel like I'm in my early 20s every day. I feel like that.
Well, you certainly have the energy to make it seem like that. So talk to me about one misconception or a few misconceptions that people have about running in general.
That if you run every day, you're gonna be skinny. You're not gonna have any muscle mass. I think that's the biggest myth. You're gonna have your joints are gonna fall apart pretty much. You're gonna be injured. You're not gonna be able to walk. There's so many things I've heard. And the funny thing is, to me, I'm like, well, those people that you see that are marathon, the Eliud Kipchoge, they're skinnier, slimmer, on the slimmer side. But this is how they train their body. It's not like they're not eating. They're not starving themselves. They're eating high calories, because they have to maintain a certain amount of level. But the way they train also is how they do it. So the way I run every day. I'm running 7 miles, 5 miles. I used to run at least 7 miles a day. I'm changing that again, going back to running intuitively. I did 5 the other day, and then I did 7, and I did 9. But it's how you do it. I don't just run. I make sure I do body weights, and I'm actually lifting weights a little bit now because I want to get stronger, because I'm planning to run across the country. So I'm doing all these stuff to keep myself strong. So all these are myths. You're going to be too skinny if you run every day. And my knee, I've had more muscle problem than knee. I've never really had any knee pain in 3 years. One time I had it when I ran a marathon a day, every day for 7 days. Like 4 days in or 3 days in, I was starting to feel knee pain. It was just like a runner knee kind of feeling. And after that, a few days later, that went away, and I did knee strengthening exercises. But I've never had any issue on my back, my knee, any joints really, muscular issues. I've had my calf issue, shin, and that's about it. And those are all like, it's how you treat it, and it's about volume too. It's like me and you, for example, Danny. Let's say that I said I'm gonna run every day for a year, and you are not, but I'm controlling my volume. Let's say today we go run, Danny. You ran 10 miles, for example, right? I ran only 3 miles. But you running 10 miles, you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to take a day off tomorrow because I just did 10 miles. My body's really beat. It's sore. But I went and run my little low mileage of 3 miles again tomorrow. I'm at 6 at that point. You're still ahead of me by 4 more miles. And then you take 2-3 days to recover. And then those next 2-3 days, I'm doing the low volume. I'm doing 2-3, right? At the end of 365 days, even if you go run 3 days later, who's going to run more miles? I'm going to run more miles. But I did less work of beating my body up one at a time. So I had a volume control where I'm going to go a little higher. I'm keeping it low, but I'm still able to get out there every day and get it done. But you are actually killing yourself in a way, but you're doing these high mileage. You're just going hard at it, and you're taking these breaks, which you could use because you're going hard. But I'm keeping mine attainable, and I'm still getting a good work in my body, and I'm training my body to endure everyday kind of work movement in that way. So it's also how you deal with it. I'm not saying that I run 3 miles in a day. In the beginning, I was doing 3, 4. I do higher mileage, but I build my body to get to that tolerance also as well. So I think anyone, if whatever is running or now working out, whatever you want to do, you could do it every day for a year, every day for 2 years. It's just how you maintain the load. It's how you take care of yourself with recovery and how you work on. It's not just running. You got to work out also. You got to keep yourself strong, and you'll be fine.
You bring up such an important point that I want to underscore, which is that if one person runs 24 miles in one day and one person runs 1 mile for 24 days, the person you'd rather be the person who runs 1 mile for 24 days because that person is going to get the benefit of rest and sleep. And I think that we underlook this so much, and our mind is like, oh, let me get as much done as possible today. Yeah. But if you realize that sleep is the most important and consistency over a long period of time is the most important.
Exactly. And that consistency of going 1 mile a day, you're kind of like letting your body introduce like slowly into it. 1 mile, the next day, another mile. So your body's getting into this routine. It's getting a little stronger each and every day with that each and every mile and getting stronger. So at that point, when you hit your 24 mile, you have this strength in you that you wouldn't have by just going one time 24 miles and you're broken down and your body is kind of struggling a little bit to recuperate from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned before about lifting weights and how you're trying to get stronger now. What exactly is your routine like and what are you doing?
I canceled my gym membership after the pandemic, even though the gyms are open. I never really was, whenever I went to the gym, it wasn't really to hit the weights. It was to do body work like pull-ups, dips, all these things, and just being in an environment of the gym and use their ab machines that are easy for me. Here and there, I'll touch the weights, but I have this Tempo studio that Tempo sent out to me. It has weights in it, like 100 pounds worth of weights. So I'm lifting. So like, for example, after I'm done coaching tonight, I'm going to come and turn on my Tempo studio and do a body strengthening exercise. It has lower body, upper body, full body. So I just turn that on and trying to do that 3 or 4 times a week. The reason I'm trying to add a little more muscle mass because we're going to run across the country early 2021. And I'm actually in a good talk of getting that happen. I'll be announcing the official date very soon before this year end for sure. It'd be cool to announce it by my birthday actually, which is coming up in November. And so I'm lifting weights to make sure that my body is stronger because I know my body's going to get destroyed doing that. So I want to go in there strong. So when it's getting teared down, I'm going to have some kind of strength by the time I get to New York City from LA versus going in there weak and then I'm dying in the middle of the country when I don't have the strength to keep pushing.
Yeah, so I'm so happy you brought up the cross-country run because how'd you get this idea to do this? Where did this come from?
Well, so after I ran every day for a year, and I was like, wow, that's a crazy goal I just accomplished. And then I said, let's go to year two. Let's see. That year was the year of mental toughness because that was all about injuries. You knew what to expect. It wasn't fun. But after year two, I was like, you know what? I want to do something that's more challenging. I like to challenge myself because now I fell in love with challenging myself. And I said, what can I do? I'm sitting here, actually, the table I'm sitting at right now. I said, wait, I maybe I should try to run across the country. I literally said that. And my girl was like, I don't want you to do it. Because she's always like, I have all these crazy ideas. She's like afraid for my health. She's like, you're crazy. You're trying to do all this stuff. Um, she said, okay, maybe let's look into it. I didn't even know people were running across the country either. That's the thing. I don't know anything about these. And we found out that so many people have done it, like 200 or 300 people have done it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. But when I'm doing this, I know this is going to be a hard challenge. I don't want to do it for my own ego. Nope. I want to do it for a cause. Even all the races I've done in my life, I did it for a cause. I didn't start running to go do races. It was more than that. So when I run, I want to do it for something that's bigger than me. So I said, let's do that to raise money and shoes for 300 million people, kids who don't have shoes, Soul for Souls. That's the nonprofit that we want to do it for. So I just said, you know what, let's make this happen. I wanted to make it happen last March. Pandemic started. I want people to be involved with it. And then we said, we'll see this fall. It doesn't look good, but pandemic or not, even if I'm by myself, I want to start 2021 and keep going. So I want to try something that's harder because running every day is a daily routine now. That's not going to change. So now what can I do that's more challenging? And I think try to cover over 3,000 miles in a crazy amount of days that I have in my head. I want to do it in 80, 70, 80 days, but I'm giving myself 100 days just in case because you never know what's going to happen with injuries or whatever. But yeah, that's the goal. And in the amount of miles I'm trying to cover, I don't even do that in a year. I'm trying to do that in less than the time that I've ever done in my life. So that's the next challenge.
So how many miles is that per day are you expecting to do?
I personally want to tackle 40 to 45 miles a day. But I'm being smart. Said, okay, I did the 35 miles a day. The 245-mile week, that was so comfortable. I could have seen myself doing that for a few months. I just felt good about it. My body was well trained for it. I'm prepared for it. So I said, okay, we'll get to 30, 35. But I really want to do 40 to 45 miles a day. That's what I really want to do. Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious about who do you look up to, if anybody, for inspiration or role models or people you're like, wow, that dude's pretty cool. Like, do you have anybody like that?
I'm inspired by many things, not one specific things. I'm inspired by my parents. I'm inspired by even everybody that's getting out there hustling. Like even you have your podcast. You're doing something for yourself. I'm inspired by that. My inspiration is not, this one specific person inspires me to get out. I've always been a motivated person. So I cannot say that I was never motivated. I was always afraid of doing things like running. But I think that's the athlete in me. Growing up playing soccer my whole life, you're an athlete. You're always competing games. So your body is designed for this routine to find self-motivation. So I didn't need anybody really to motivate me and inspire me to get up and get something done. It was more of me holding myself back. But there's many things that inspire me. Hellah Kipchoge, holy cow. I look at it, I'm like, wow, I want to get up right now and go run. Even if I can see anything about Hellah Kipchoge, and I've already run that day, and I want to lace up and go run. So inspiration comes. I looked up to Kobe Bryant a lot. May he rest in peace. And if you go look at some of the stuff I used to post about Kobe Bryant on my social media, I was always obsessed with him. I also say, LeBron, good luck catching up to Kobe. I was a big LeBron hater because I wanted Kobe to get all the credit. Like I looked going back into 2008 and 7, I was always talking about Kobe. I looked up to him, and I looked up to so many greats like the Steph Currys, Hellah Kipchoge's of the world. It's insane. There's so many amazing athletes. Michael Phelps, like all these medals that he's able to get through swimming. So it's not one specific person. That's the thing about me, that I'm very grateful for. That I'm able to find inner motivation in a way, but also I'm inspired to see so many greats do their work and so many people that are getting out there and just hustling in general and doing what they love or trying to fall in love with something that they thought that they couldn't do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's really inspiring to see people who are getting after it in any regard. And talk to me about some of the people who you've inspired and who who you've had an impact on and what that's meant to you.
A lot of people. I'm still trying to catch up on DM from a year ago. Actually, this October marks a year. I have DMs I haven't answered from them because I get so many. I'm so grateful for it that a lot of people want to take their time to talk to me. But many people have shared their personal story with me, how they got inspired just to not even just run every day, just to chase their dreams. And that's what it's all about. It's not about even you getting up to run every day. It's about just go chase what you want. Make it happen. Don't be afraid. Get out there and put some time. If you want it bad enough, you'll make time for it every single day and make it happen. So I've had messages plenty of time, seeing people being motivated, tagging me with their run. It's very cool to see that I was able to have that impact on their life. And my way of thanking them is letting them know that I'm seeing what they're doing and thanking them for actually taking a few minutes out of their day and messaging me, because that's a precious few minutes that they could be doing something else, be with a family member, or doing something that they want to do also. So yeah, seeing that is it's really cool, and that's what I make my YouTube videos for too, because I don't care if I get a lot of views. That one person that it makes an impact on, that's what's important. I didn't start YouTube for views. I didn't start YouTube for anything. YouTube just happened because I just finally gave in to share my passion with people, and we're gonna make sure we just keep it at that. That's why if you see anything on my channel, even if I have any sponsors, it's because I really love it. I have to test out Gymshark. I tested out Gymshark for 2 months. Like, I loved it immediately. I was like, sometimes when you get a gift, you get excited about it. I was like, let the excitement die down and see if I really love this product before I commit to it. So I like sharing stuff that I actually genuinely really love, because when you love it, it's easy to talk about it. It's so easy to talk about it. It feels natural. It feels like you're not forcing anything. So all of that, seeing that, it's very cool to see people being inspired and trying things out for themselves, trying what I'm trying, putting on what I'm putting on. It's amazing. It's crazy to think. Even till this day, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, what a crazy journey it's been so far. And we're not even anywhere near done.
I absolutely love it, man. And so this podcast is going to go live right before 2021 starts. So what I would like you to do is to give a little pep talk or maybe motivation or speech to someone who's starting, who's about to start 2021. What do you have to say to them?
I said, do what you love. Love is the only way. I may be wrong to some people, but I think love is what brings happiness. And I'll explain that theory for you in a second. But I want to tell to these people who have this new goal for 2021, do what you love. If you love it, you might as well get up every day and pursue it, because you already love it. Why not do it? You love it. You're thinking about it is because you love it. You're thinking about it is because you want to do it. So just give it a try. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of anybody that's doubting you. Don't, even your parents, I said that to people. If you want to do it, it doesn't matter what they think. Get up and pursue. Respectfully disagree with them and be respectful and say, you know what, Mom, Dad, this is what I want to do, and pursue it. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do it, makes you happy. If you go do something else that someone else wants you to do, it's not going to last. You're going to be miserable. So do what you love. If you love doing it, get up and get after it every single day, no matter any circumstances. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day spent on it, eventually that adds up. 5 minutes a day, every day for a week, that adds up. Versus spending 20 an hour just today and leave it for 5-10 days. Spend time on it every day. And it's a cheesy saying. They say Rome wasn't built overnight. It wasn't. So spend time on it every single day. And the reason earlier I said again, love is what brings happiness. If you love yourself, you got to love yourself first. If you can't love yourself, there's no way you're going to love someone else. There's no chance. And people say that, oh, I can love someone and not love myself. If you love yourself, you can love other people, because love is in your heart already. You don't see anything by love, right? You love other people, love what you do, love the world that you live in, because we get up and we got to be alive. When you do that, you are full of love, and then you're happy. When you're in love with someone, you're happy. When you're in love with riding your bike, when you're in love with going for a run, when you're in love being on your podcast or doing whatever techie stuff, you're happy, right? Because it brings smile to your face. So love literally brings happiness. So if you're loving, happiness is always going to be there, because love is around you at all times. So do what you love. Focus on love. Love yourself. Love others. Love what you do, and love the life that you're living. So that's my message to everybody that's going into a new a new 2021 that wants to make a change for themselves.
Dude, I am smiling ear to ear. And people who are listening to this podcast and who have listened to episodes in the past might have been wondering who is actually speaking there. Was it Hellah or was it Danny? Because you just sound so much like me, man. And
That's so awesome.
I'm so appreciative of you for coming on today. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they want more Hellah in their life?
I'm on YouTube as Hellah Good, so it's HellahGood, and I'm on Instagram as Hellah Good, but with a number 9 after that, Hellah Good. So they can feel free to message me, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to get back to them. And like Danny said, that it felt like it was either me or him. And the thing is that I believe in being on the same frequency, energy, and I think we're connected for a reason. So this just didn't happen by accident because you have the same mindset. It says the way the people who have the same thinking, same energy, you get pulled together somehow. And I was happy to see your email and being able to get on this podcast and make it happen today.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. The hour absolutely flew by, and hopefully it did for you listening as well.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. I definitely enjoy every moment of it. And
thank you, man.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and I'm excited to hear and have other people here as well.
Beautiful people, we are back, and that was my conversation with Hellah Sidibe. If you enjoyed it, let me know on Twitter. @HeyDannyMiranda is the best place to find me. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please consider subscribing to my newsletter, Tuesday Treasure. You can find that at DannyMiranda.com/Tuesday. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.